Hey everyone. It is Women's History Month, and as always, it is Wednesday Wisdom Day on Trap Chat Live. I am so excited. Listen, we were having so much fun backstage that I almost forgot to hit the live button. So you are in for a treat. What's this shirt you got on, Kirsten? It says Black Women Hustle. And I am here with the founder of Black Women Hustle, Lashawn Dreher, my soror, my friend, beautiful, beautiful person, all the way from the sunny state of South Carolina. She is an entrepreneur. She is a brand strategist. She is the networking maven and newly editor in chief of EMOIR Magazine. I'm going to let her tell you all the fun stuff she's doing. So, Lashawn, please introduce yourself.
Listen, I feel like you got it already.
Oh,
Like,
all right. Well,
I'm like,
let's
I'm not
let's
a
get
picture
into it.
person. I
Yeah.
do marketing. I'm a marketing strategist, founder of Black Women Hustle, founder and editor in chief of EMOIR Magazine, like you said. And I'm excited, y'all. This is my girl. Like she said, we were just. It's so funny because we went to Kiki and it was just like, oh, we live. Like,
Yes.
all right, let's get down to business, but we still gonna cut up.
And my pictures in the back are on slants, but oh,
I
there you go.
cannot.
Hey y'all. So yes, so I met LaShawn some years ago, and I am so just excited that she's on the other side of the microphone because she actually interviewed me for her podcast, and even before that, had connected with me online. Like she said, she is the networking maven, and she has not just tagged herself that she truly is. And as a result, I have been connected to so many outstanding and amazing women across different um, platforms, across different industries, different professions, other entrepreneurs, other business women. Like she is amazing. Invited me to be a part of a conference, and I'm sitting on the stage with some of the like baddest, and I just gave them their space. I was like, this is amazing. I'm getting filled up myself. She just just doing so many things. So I am very happy to have her kicking off Women's History Month and starting here. So for the people who don't know about you, and I don't know how they don't, but for the people who don't know about you, what prompted you to launch Black Women Hustle?
Funny, I was just talking about this. I just came back from Costa Rica and it was a very intimate
Ooh.
setting, right? And we were talking about our journeys. And I was just like, I really don't think people understand just how Black Women Hustle came about, because I typically tell people, the story is I asked a question. I liked a lot of dialogue on social media. So I would just ask people on Facebook, men and women, about different scenarios, specifically Black men and Black women.
Mm-hmm.
And one day I asked Black women, what was your experience like working with other Black women? And I hated the responses. I absolutely hated the responses. Yeah, it was all negative. For the most part, it was negative about, stealing ideas and taking, something someone else created and trying to make it their own. And I didn't like the vibe of it. So I was just like, I know we're better than this. So let me create a space that shows this. And I wanted to be surrounded by community. I had just come out of corporate turmoil. I just found a balance and was just getting my foundation back in place. And while I was in corporate as an accounting analyst at the time, and I was just like, you know what, I'm going to do it. I'm going to do it. So I started putting a platform together, but I wasn't quite sure what I wanted to do. All I knew was I wanted Black women to be together and thrive.
Yes.
Plain and simple. Like I just knew that was what I wanted. And I started with opportunity. And opportunity has always been the core of Black Women Hustle. How can I connect this Black woman with this person, or give her this resource, or teach her this skill? What can I do that will improve her lifestyle? And although it was business focused, I know that sometimes what happens in our careers and entrepreneurship directly affects our personal lives. That's our financial well-being sometimes, So I wanted to do whatever I can. And that was like April of 2018. And then by July, I was like, all right, baby, let's keep this shit in gear. Like, let's go.
And you had already, like I said, like you had already had conference like a few months later, and people showed up. People showed up and showed out. And it wasn't, you did it in the DMV, but there were people from other states there.
Everywhere. Yeah. Texas. Like even when I did one in Atlanta, a girl came all the way from like Michigan. So
Yes.
it was crazy to me because first, the funny thing about DMV is that the tickets weren't selling. Like I put it out there, and this is a
Oh.
space big enough for what, like 80, I think 80 women.
Mhm.
And every time I reach out to somebody, I'm like, hey, I've been saying I'm going to travel. I'm going to come to your city. And when the time came, everybody was like, oh, I'm going to be out of town. Like, sorry, sis. And I was like, damn. Lo and behold, I'm like, I hit up the people I knew I wanted to speak, including you. And I was just like, you know what? Go forward anyway. Just do it anyway. And next thing you know, it's sold out and people are asking for tickets because
Yeah.
I don't have any more space. And it's like, you never really imagine when you not necessarily had a vision for it, but you didn't necessarily know where it was going to go. I'm like, I created this space. I don't know where it's going to go, but I'm going to put it out there and see what happens. And that's honestly a core memory. I still look back at those pictures and I just like, I got to do it again.
You do. Well, in your defense, the very next year when you could have done it again, we couldn't come together in that way,
No.
and not in person at least. And then
Mm-mm.
2021, still some kind of like residual.
I wasn't about to take the risk. I understand risk
Yeah.
taking, and I was over the virtual because I work in marketing, digital marketing at
Mhm.
that. So everything I did was online already in that business. But in Black Women Hustle, everything was already digital, and people were already asking for like online conferences, and everything was online. And I was just like, I'm a little burnt out. I'm a
No,
little burnt out. Yeah.
I understand that. I definitely understand that. So we were talking about. So you are by trade a digital marketer or a marketing strategist, and with so many platforms now, I mean, you know that I am the like grandma when it comes to social media. Like,
You gonna stop talking about yourself like this? No, you are
no, no,
not.
no. I got it on. Like, listen, I don't care. Like, not that I don't care, but like when I make a piece of content, especially when I be taking my time, you made me some templates, but you didn't tell me they were only for one platform. like when I throw my information on there, like I'm done. Like I'm sharing it
That's it.
everywhere.
That's
And you're
it.
like, no, that's not how
No, we can't do that.
that's
No, we
not
got
how it
standards
works.
here with this content. We got to know where to put it and when. Like,
Yes, yes, yes. So what besides what I do, not necessarily that's not the best. What are the like what are the like what are people getting wrong about content creation, and then what are most people getting right?
Ooh, wrong. I would probably say creating for the sake of it because they
Ooh.
see everybody's like, so for instance, Instagram is now requiring videos. It's almost like they don't give a damn what you prefer. They're gonna push
Right.
reels, and that's how you have to grow. And a lot of people don't necessarily want to, but because they know it's the only way they can remain visible, because only a small
Yes.
percentage, like less than 10% of the people who follow you actually see your content.
Mhm.
They just indulge, and it's just like, okay, well, let's create, and it's just like, well, what's the purpose of this? What's the mission? Like, where are people going after they engage with your content? And I think when you start to just create with no true intention or no way of actually making a connection with your audience, just for the sake of putting some shit out there, it's going to fall flat. Nobody
Yeah.
benefits. You don't benefit. The people who already follow you are probably looking like, what is this? Because 9 times out of 10 has nothing to do with the reason that they followed you, especially if it's business related.
Yeah.
And, and if they did come in and follow you and watch, what's this for? Is this leading to an offer? Is this something that's going to benefit them, educate them, entertain them? Is it just, just some informative piece of content, or is this just some shit? I'm just like, what is this? Like, I'm like, everybody's at that moment. It's just like, no. And then sometimes it makes you question, like, did I follow this person or did Instagram do this? Like, I'm watching.
Well, thankfully you still follow me. But I'm not doing everything wrong.
Quality content over there. Okay.
Yeah,
Trap recruiter, quality content. But
and then what are people getting right?
Yeah, I think what people actually do get right is, I feel like it's underrated skill, but most people do it, but not necessarily pay attention to the fact that they're doing it. And it's social listening. So they watch the people that they follow and just kind of see what their needs and desires are. And then they actually do start creating content around that. And it's just like, okay, well, you're actually doing something that we highly recommend in marketing, and that's paying attention to your audience to understand them more, like understanding their behaviors, like I said, their wants, their desires, what are the things that they need. And when you start creating content centered around those things, of course you're going to get engagement. Of course, people are going to find you and start reaching out for opportunities or to purchase your products or services. It's inevitable because you're actually doing something that appeals to them versus, like I said before, just posting for the sake of it.
Okay, now that's a good point, because one of the things that you stress is about digital monetization, and that's one of the things that I never like. I don't think that people. I think some people that are creating content are not doing it with a purpose. Like for me, I was doing like giving career tips, like I was centering it on those things, so it made sense. But when people were asking me, why don't you have a link to where they can buy like the fullness of this, like I don't think that there's enough people. I think there are people that are creating great content, but they're just giving it away for free.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. And
Yeah.
the funny thing is, like, there's monetization on social media, but then there's monetization within your business.
Yes.
And you can give content, you can give things away for free. I mean, I feel like content creation is essentially giving something away for free, because you're going to learn something or gain something just off the strength of a post. Otherwise, why else would you engage? There's going to be something you can benefit from. But because you now have these monetization tools and these creator funds that are on like Instagram or Meta and YouTube, it's easier to put content out there and actually gain from it from a revenue standpoint. But then I think, especially in marketing, you have to think about the rest of the process, the systems that people have to go through. So if I'm using social media as one of my marketing channels, I'm making sure there's a link in the bio. I'm making sure that whatever I know I'm pushing at this current moment, or that campaign that's currently in play, once they click that link, it's going to be easily accessible once they click it. So they can go subscribe or download or apply, whatever that is. I want them to easily be able to access it. So of course, we can, as business owners, you have to continue to get that money. You have to make sure there's a process in place so it's a smooth transition for the people who come from social media to go inside of your business and see, whatever it's about. But monetization is one of those things you can't necessarily get away from it. But I hope the people who do have access to it take advantage of it. And people are like, well, I don't necessarily know what to create. You better find something that makes sense. Because I mean, I can't say it's free money, especially not with social media, because it's not free. You have to take the time to create or pay somebody to create. But the hope is that you do get a return on the investment of time and energy that you've made into putting that content out.
Yeah. So do you think that a lot of people aren't utilizing social media for the purpose of what it was supposed to be for? Like when I hear you talking about this, like you're talking from, the actual business side of it, from the marketing side of it, you're showing us why you have an MBA. And I think a lot of people, well, because I think that we get a false sense of what it actually takes to reach certain audiences, because there have been some people that have become famous off of luck, and then they get machines behind them that are actually, creating those things. So they stay in the forefront and they stay popular because, there's a person that's creating content in their car right now that's better than some content in the studio. But we don't see that person in the car because they're not also, like you said, putting that stuff behind them to either drive business to themselves or, outside of social media or on social media. So, I think a lot of us were just worried about the algorithm, like the algorithm, we're always trying to beat it. And
Yeah,
and it keeps change. You can't be. It's like in my business.
Yeah. It's a series of events. That's exactly what it is. It's a series of events. I'm like, you can't beat a series of events. The only thing you can do is work with it. If they tell you make this change, make the damn change. Like, you don't have a choice. I mean, it's either that or not be visible. You have to make that decision. But I also think, and I said this earlier last week, I was just like, I think people have to remember that in social media, we're the products, we're not the consumers. So the changes that are made within this platform are meant to benefit their companies. It's meant to benefit the people who create these platforms so they can figure out more of our human patterns and the behaviors that we have and continue to structure these systems however they see fit. And we just have to learn to adjust with it. Like, we can sit and complain and say, we don't like this. Like, I see people do it under, I don't know the correct pronunciation of his last name, but Adam Mazzari, like, he's over Instagram. Okay. And he'll, share different updates. And if you go in the comments, people are like, we didn't ask for this. We did not ask for it. They will literally be in the comments going in like, we did not ask for this. What is this? But it's just like, you see that they implemented it anyway, right? You see they didn't care that you didn't like it. The only way you'll know what certain platforms actually either listen to, or I can't necessarily say they listen to it, they saw that nobody was using it, is when it gets taken away. So I think, like, with videos, like, videos was a thing, but when they noticed Reels was short form videos or TikToks came about, next thing you know, every platform now has some sort of short form video offering, or if there was something that wasn't working, it's gonna go, they're gonna get rid of it. But it's not necessarily that they're listening to you, they're expecting you to just kind of do what they recommend. And it's the only way you'll stay visible. You can keep, I love the fact that some people are just complete rebels and they're just like, I'm gonna treat Instagram like I treated it back in 2011, like when it was simple and I could just post and go. And I respect it. I completely respect it, because sometimes it's a little more fun that way. You get to see less of the high quality aesthetic, and you just get to see people just being, because when you see me in person, that's what you're gonna get.
Yeah. I'm a picture as a real posse. I'm part of the picture as a real posse. Like,
I'm here for some of those, depending on the sound. It depends on the sound. I'm just like, what, this actually fits. I'll like it and I'll keep going.
Oh, I don't even go through all that.
You don't care. See, you don't care. It's okay.
No,
it's okay.
I put a pic, like, I'll put a, me, I'm a picture with they shouldn't have ever they shouldn't have ever let me figure out how to put songs behind my posts and my stories. Like, they should have never let me figure out how to do that.
Right.
Because I abuse it, and that's the best. Like, that's what I want to do. I want to do these. That's all I want to do. But this isn't about me. This is about
no. I get it. You just gotta remember, we are products. We are literally products, not consumers. So it's.
Oops, sorry, I got it backwards.
Oh no, it's all right. It's all right.
We are products.
No, we definitely are. We are definitely products and not consumers. And it's almost a scary thing when you think about it. Just to know that there are different things being done that are based off of our natural patterns, just to kind of see, like, what will they do if we make this change? Conform. Conform, go along with it, because what else are we going to do? I feel like the changes that are made on these social platforms, whether you agree with them or not, 9 times out of 10, they don't make the changes you suggest, because they know no matter how you feel, you're still going to be here.
You're still going to use it.
Everybody was leaving away, but I'm still here, because to me, it's still a social channel. It's still a way for me to connect with people. It's still a way for me to have another revenue stream. So I'll stay. I'll stay. Yeah.
Just I don't post all much, Twitter. Yeah, and we're all still on Twitter, even though everybody said they were leaving. I'm leaving if. I'm leaving if. I'm leaving if.
Some people do though. Some people do leave, and I love when they do leave. I used to wonder how people could do it. It's just like, well, okay, you get off social media. I think when I was heavy in it, I would I would just be like, what are y'all doing? Like, just like, everybody's here. I'm like, everybody's on social media, everybody's using it. Like, what are y'all doing that y'all not on social media? What kind of life are you living? And that was just it. They were living life. They were actually out living life and experiencing real world things, having real world interactions, versus just being on the internet and just laser focused on posting and appealing to other people all day, every day. And I love that for them.
I do too. Now, we were talking about all of the trends, and you dropped this, like, jewel that I'm going to carry with me and think about the next time I have to do something, or the next time I have to engage social media, or when I get frustrated. So, we are products, not the consumers. I like that. But what's one idea or practice that, like, the experts in digital marketing or in marketing in general, multi-channel marketing and things like that, what's one practice or idea that experts promote that you don't necessarily agree with?
Ooh. I still see some saying post multiple times a day on social media. And I'm like, I think that's pretty much dead these days.
Okay.
Yeah, yeah. I'm like, I'm anti-post multiple times a day. Even sometimes multiple times in a week. It just depends. It's just like, is it necessary? If not, it can wait. Like time things out, schedule things accordingly. Don't feel like you have to rush and put everything out at one time. And then showing up, I think consistency, that's the word I hear often. People like, be consistent. I had someone ask me this weekend, we were doing a workshop, and I was just like, you do have to be consistent. But she thought her idea of consistent was that posting 3 times a day. And I was like, that's not it. That's not consistency to me. Consistency is just remaining visible to the people you want to see you, the people who are looking forward to you showing up. And if that's, I post 2 times a week, I still show up. When you come to my page, if you go to a post, it doesn't look like it's dead. When you go to my website, you don't see content from 2019 when you haven't seen anything since. It's
Right.
updated. People get to see that there's still, active communication going on, still active offers, or I'm active. I'm here to actually connect with you whenever you find me. So I think just defining consistency is one of those things, making sure you understand what consistency means for you versus just taking the advice of just showing up all day, every day. You do have to show up. You can't thrive without it, especially not in business. But yeah, showing up in a consistent way that makes sense to you.
I love that. You're talking about you've given so many things. You just said understanding what consistency means for you, and I think a lot of times we, especially again in social media specifically, and in certain professions, we take on meanings of what other people have, and then it pulls away from our authentic self. Before we went live, we were talking about professionalism. As specific, you just dipped it. Specifically, some of the things that are going on a certain platform that we are live on right now, LinkedIn. But professionalism, some will say professionalism, that's out the door. That's anti-Black, or that's oppressive. What is your view on professionalism?
I won't say it's out the door. I have a standard, like I told you behind the scenes. I have a standard when it comes to professionalism. There are limits to this thing.
Yeah.
But I do think much of it, especially in spaces like LinkedIn, it's rooted in whiteness. And I can't even say LinkedIn. Sometimes it's actually in person. I think it is rooted in whiteness and appearing how you see some of them show up in certain places, and code switching, and what I mean? Like, how much does code switching come into professionalism? Some people feel like that's being professional, like, let me code switch and sound like my counterparts. But it's just like, you can still sound like yourself, you can still present as yourself, and it's professional as fuck. Like,
it's
like,
no, it is.
Yeah.
And when you think about it, I was literally thinking about this today, because I get irritated on certain things, but I'm not as vocal and calling stuff out as I used to be, because I get tired of reading hate mail. And I have real work to do, so I don't want to be stuck. I don't want to be stuck on social media arguing with people I don't know in real life that may not even be real people, to be quite honest. But I was thinking about
the way
that.
AI is going. Okay.
Yeah, about how I interact, or how certain words I won't say on. I don't use certain words on the internet that I will say, in what I consider a safe space, or someplace I'm more laid back. I don't show certain parts of my body, like I'm very, very aware of like certain things, because, I want the focus to be on the work, and not on something else. And that's something that a standard I set for myself. It's not something I try to put on other people. But when we talk about like speech and stuff, like I don't really like say certain words. Like I use profanity when I talk. Like that's just how I talk. That's natural for me. But I don't really I don't do it when I'm like, especially when I'm writing something, because that's not natural. It's not the same as my speaking. But what I find, I get irritated because I'll see people that like literally what we're doing, like we're code switching and then they're code switching in reverse. Like they're literally using our vernacular to sound cool and to sound thing, or using, hip hop songs, or I've seen white people use Dr. Umar voiceovers, and I'm like, oh
On
my
the
god.
real,
And I'm
yeah,
like,
yeah.
do you know who that is?
No, that's not suspicious. The suspicious
Yes, don't you
soundtrack.
find that
Yeah,
suspicious?
yeah,
I find
yeah.
that very suspicious. Yes. So
You
yes,
don't
I
find
do.
that suspicious.
I
I've seen it.
do.
I've seen that. I think Twitter is another place because you have these corporate accounts that use, you know, AAVE,
Yes.
or just our lingo, and I think
Yes.
it's interesting to see because it's just like, okay, now if I challenge you to incorporate some real blackness in this, would you do it, or does that draw the line? Is that too black for you? Like I feel like people have their limits on how much blackness is allowed in spaces, or how much certain people's idea of professionalism is allowed in spaces. And I
Yeah.
think one thing about it, even when you say, cursing, I curse, I let it fly. Profanity is a thing, but
Yeah.
I think, of course, in certain conversations, when to turn it on and when to turn it off. If I'm chilling, you might hear it more. If I'm in a business setting, you still might hear it. But
Yeah.
I'm
Not.
like, am
You're
I
not
being
going to call some.
disrespectful?
Right. That's what I'm
Yeah.
saying. Like I'm
Like
not
I'm
going to
not
call
calling somebody
somebody a
out of their
waterhead
name.
boy. Yeah. I'm like yeah. That.
Yeah.
Like.
Yeah. I'm like, it's literally just, to me, it's language. That's
Mhm.
all it is. And delivery matters. And
Yes.
I think that's a whole nother thing, because if I'm speaking to you in a normal tone, there's no attitude, there's no extra, like I'm gonna give you just a little oomph so you can understand. I'm not gonna speak down on you. Like I'm gonna say what it is, and this was a professional conversation, and we can leave it at
Yeah.
that.
I heard
Like there's
that.
nothing more to it.
Yes. So we got a comment. I think my LinkedIn is lagging. Um, so in agreeing with you, posting multiple times a day is hard, even with the ability to schedule on certain platforms.
Yeah,
Yes.
I think most of the platforms. I don't know how LinkedIn is doing. I typically just get on LinkedIn and watch, because I'm, again, professionalism in LinkedIn.
I like how you
Uh,
change. Did you know you're like professionalism?
a little sarcasm for y'all on this good day, but I think most platforms do allow you to schedule at this point. At least the platforms that have more of the visual content, that seems to be
Yeah.
a thing. And I noticed that too, not necessarily for the written spaces, but for the visual platforms, it looks like it's an option. And it makes sense, because most thoughts, I'm like, y'all can put that in a notepad. Like you can put that somewhere else and just save it for whenever it's time. just put it in. I do it all the time. I really do. I have a notepad. My notepad has like hundreds of notes in it on my iPhone. So it's just like, I can just take it whenever I feel like, you know what, this is the time. This is the day I want
Yeah.
to put it out there. But other than that, I use that scheduler all this past weekend while I was out of the country. The
I
schedulers
love
come
it.
in handy, like use them. But if
Flex.
again,
She's like, I was out of the country. I was in Costa
because I
Rica.
wasn't accessible, clients
Yeah.
still had expectations, and your girl was still delivering. So, I was still delivering. That's all I'm saying.
I'm just teasing. I love that for you. So man, it's almost 1:30, and I know that you have some things to do this afternoon, and I want to get to the even more fun stuff,
Okay.
the non-professional questions. But I did want to ask you one final thing, because we're
Mhm.
just coming out of what I have deemed the most non-Black History Month, the worst Black History Month of my entire lifetime.
Why?
But
Why was it? Okay, wait a minute. I need to hear why was it
it
bad for
was
you first, though.
non-existent. Like, number one, it was non-existent. It was extremely, like, you got on one hand people talking that no one's invited me to Black History programs. Ma'am, sir, they, them, like, you have a whole platform yourself. Do your own. Like, why are you waiting for white people to invite you to stuff? Sorry, white people, but y'all were not interested in Black History Month this year, and that's okay. Like, we could do
I
it
saw a lot of
ourselves.
people asking, though. I thought that was interesting. I saw a lot of
Asking,
people asking for opportunities. Like, I'm open to speaking for, and to me,
right?
that was something new, because all before it felt like, and I wondered if that was them taking advantage of an opportunity that was there, because there are so many think pieces that come out saying, now that Black History Month is here, y'all reaching out. Like, don't reach out during Black History Month. Y'all knew that this month came around, which is a fact. Yeah, it's not a lie. But I think because so many people count themselves out, that there was this group of people that was just like, well, if you care that much, that's fine. But if I see this opportunity to work with this brand or connect with this platform, I'm going to take it. And I feel like I saw that more. And I was just like, well, this is interesting to watch. You know, I feel like I was more observant. I did get offers, of course, to participate in Black History Month initiatives and whatnot. And I was like, it's fine. But I feel like you choose. Do you want to do it or not? You know, however your moral compass is set up, by all means, go along with whatever feels good to you. But I was interested in why you felt that way.
Because I think there were different things. Like the volume, number one, the volume went down, obviously, because 2020 and 2021 are not here anymore. So there was like an abundance, like there was a laser focus on this. And even I, like you just said, like I turned down opportunities because I was like, y'all are not going to have me trauma bond. Like, I don't want to do that. But God bless anyone who has the fortitude to do that. I'm not interested. I'd been working in corporate America, in the corporate realm for, 17 years, before I branched out on my own. And I was tired, like I was tired. And I didn't want to sit there and talk about all the bad things that happened while I worked in corporate America. I didn't want to use my experiences to, like I said, to just trauma bond and know that there's not going to be any outcomes from it. But in addition to like I said, people saying, and it is true, there weren't as many programs. There wasn't as much of a light shown on Black History Month. It wasn't amplified. It wasn't centered. I did make comments about two specific things in the HR realm, specifically with, the biggest HR organization in the world. They put up on the first day of Black History Month, they put up a post, but it was a recycled thing from a whole other country, that someone from a whole other country wrote that did not center Black people. And then another post from a recruiting site that's very well known, they wrote a thing about, what to do Black History Month, but it was diversity thing. And I was like, Black History Month, the purpose of it is to center Black excellence. I was like, it's not an all inclusive. It's not a Black and. So
it's not DI. It is not BIPOC. It is Black. Black.
Period. So like there were things like that, like and I feel like people were just doing stuff to do it. But then you have the whole Ron DeSantis and his nonsense.
It's leaking to South Carolina. They keep telling us that it's not closely related, but it's just like, well, when I read the print, baby, it's looking the same. This is the same thing. Yeah. So
just things in the news. Like I said, it was just the most non-Black History Month, but it's Women's History Month now. Today,
this is a fact.
So, with you creating a platform and a space for Black women, how important is that? How important is it that we have things like that?
I think you led with it just now. Just speaking to Women's History, just speaking to Women's History Month, because Black women get put in the shadows a lot. We get a lot of things get taken from us, from beauty, hair industries, professional creations, like entrepreneurship. There's a lot from parenting, nursing, all the things that go deep into history, midwives, all the health, wellness, spirituality, everything. Black women typically, because we can go on and on. Yeah. So we do get put in the shadows. We easily get slid into the shadows. Just like, oh my God, you created this. This is so beautiful. Thank you. We'll take that and take it from here. And I think it's important for us to show that, no, we're still here. We're going to honor those who came before us, loud and proud. And we're going to honor those who are currently making history, because anytime you hear about women's history or Black history at that, you hear about the same figures. You probably heard about the same people every single time. But I love the fact, and this is what I love about where we are in the digital era, is that you get to see the spotlights and the backstories on the hidden figures. You get to see more of the women who are actively doing things in their own countries, in their own states, in their own cities, no matter how small the initiative is. If it's history is history. You can't take that away from somebody. If they created something that did not exist, that innovator deserves all the praise and all the credit. So when I see platforms for Black women, I know that that's all I'm going to see. I'm going to see us in the light that I know that we deserve to be in. I know that you're going to be respected in these spaces. I know you're going to be celebrated, supported in these spaces, and get all the things I wholeheartedly believe Black women deserve. Because I tell anybody, everybody already knows I take no shit behind Black women. So when it comes to us, if I can see, I don't. So if I can watch us thrive all day, every day, I'm going to. I tell people all the time, like, I literally get to support and celebrate Black women for a living. Do you know how good that feels to come up in spaces where, we were damn near diminished, like, just always shitted on or talked about in a way that just made us seem like you might have done it, but like, I doubt you did this by yourself, or I feel like you didn't do this at all. I feel like somebody else created this for you. To hear those things, even as a little girl, like I would hear things like that from white educators. Yeah, I'm like, I grew up in a town. My high school was like 2% Black when I was there, so it's just like to hear things like that, and not to be in a space to where it's like, if a Black woman created it, I'm going to tell you, I'm going to show you, I'm going to encourage my X thousand amount of followers to do the same, because y'all gonna get this information. Y'all gonna see these Black women. Yeah. And I love other platforms that take the same initiative. If there's a way to show the work that Black women are doing to, like I said, celebrate us and continue to support us and continue to build the livelihoods that we deserve, I'm gonna do it.
All right. So we got Stephen A. Hart checking in. He was the special guest last week. He says hello and happy Women's History Month, and also love, 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 all caps, your website, Lashawn Dreher, MBA.
Thank you, Stephen. You better put the MBA on the end. Thank you, Stephen.
What did you just say? Get your credit where it's due.
You're right. You're right.
All right. So we're going to go into the I don't like to call it the lightning round because I don't want to get struck. But just the every person questions.
Okay.
So because you are a marketing strategist, I do want to ask you this. This is a little different, but who are your favorite brands to follow?
Oh, I love the Do.
The Do?
The Do, DOUX. And I think that's actually the username on Instagram.
Okay.
Because the Do is the brand, and I think Maya Smith is her name. She's the founder, and it's a natural hair care line.
Oh.
Mom products. If you need some natural hair care products, you can find them almost anywhere, because I've literally watched her pop up on shelves in different retailers. That's how much I love marketing. Like, and her marketing is top tier. And like, even the fact that when they started a podcast, I think it was her and her husband, it was Outcast themed. So they had the Stankonia background, the black and white flag, and like everything is hip hop related. And I love Black culture content, music. Like, I thrive in that. So when I first saw it, I was just like, I'm in love. Like, I'm in absolute. I still follow every time I see something new from their brand. Every time I see a product, like the mousse is called Mousse Death, and I was just like, I know, right? And like, it's like 80s hip hop, 80s, 90s hip hop theme. I love following them. I'm like, who else? I feel like they're the only page that actually gives me that kind of emotion.
I'm definitely gonna go check them out when we hang up. Yeah. All right. So that's one. What is one piece of career advice, or what is the best piece of career advice you never took or that you took later on?
Ooh, I feel like it would have been probably along the lines of stick with what you started with. Like, because sometimes you see, like, you just like, I wanted to do this, and then it's just like, oh, well, maybe I want to dabble in this. This looks like it's, it's where it's at. It's like where the money is. And then I realized later on in life, I'm going right back to my roots. I'm going back to everything I originally said I wanted to do, because it's what's making me happier, or it makes me happier, versus all the things I thought I wanted. But if I would have just stuck with my gut, my intuition the very first time, and just I wanted to do, versus having external influences come in and kind of, shift my thought pattern around and make me feel like I should be doing more or should be doing better. Like, no, I should be doing what feels good to me. I should have just stuck with what I started with.
That's similar, that's similar to the advice that Steven gave last week, and you guys are in adjacent fields, so that makes sense. He was talking about how he put it in the context of like using your MapQuest or Waze or Google Maps, whatever, and you're trying to get to a destination, and sometimes there might be a roadblock or the traffic might be different. Someplace you had to veer off, but at the end of the day, you're still going to the same place. You don't turn around and go back home.
Right.
You don't go someplace. You don't go someplace else. You just take a different path. So I love that this is like following on to what you're saying.
That's real. That's real. Yeah. And it's so easy to get off course. Like it's too easy, or to even look and be like, you know what, this looks like it might be a shorter route. Like, no. Stay on the road. Get over the roadblock. You'll be all right.
Yes. So you mentioned you are a fan. Accept the route. Yes. Hashtag. Wait, let me find out.
The hashtag, right?
Yeah, wait, put trademark.
You gotta be in marketing. Gotta be.
Yes. Trademark. Accept the route. No, I'm trying to get some shirts from him. He probably done put that on one now. Accept the route. So you talked about 80s and 90s. Hip hop being a good genre for you, as it is for me. But what is your go-to song or songs or genre when you want to really hype yourself up?
Oh, it get a little ratchet around here. So I'm like, it depends on, I guess it depends on what I'm hyping myself up for.
Okay.
So if I'm about to sit down and I'm about to work, if I put on a Tribe Called Quest radio, it's a rap. Yeah, it's a rap. Okay. They'll throw like a little Slick Rick in there, a little Talib Kweli, and don't let Check the Rhyme come on, because I'm gonna be days on the Boulevard Atlantic. Like, I'll just open up my windows and start vibing real quick. And then I'm like, all right, you gotta bring it down because you gotta work, and I can't read and listen to the lyrics at the same time. So I'll end up switching to like a lo-fi list after.
Okay.
Balance, baby, balance. Okay.
Okay. So, what about to pull? What's something that you listen to pull you up out of the? I was going to slap the shit out you, but now I'm going to relax.
Oh. I don't know. It take a minute for that urge to go.
I just turn on gospel music when I need to not. Yeah.
Yeah, I would say it's the lo-fi list. It's the lo-fi list. I love Mad Keys, young Black guy who has a lot, and he's good. Mad Keys, literally.
Okay.
Jan, I think it's Jan Hunter, but you'll hear him, like, if you hear some of his, he has a lot of trending sounds. Like, that's Hunter is what you'll hear in the beginning of like his sounds on Instagram. I don't know how to pronounce it. Is it Iniko? INKO, I think. But she has the King's Affirmation song. I'll listen to hers too, because any of those three artists, like, they'll pull me down and just be like, let's mellow out. Like, let's keep it calm. Yeah.
All right. So I hope that you had some time to think about this. I had in my mind who this person is, but I'm going to let you say. So what TV or movie character gives you a glimpse of yourself, and why is it Khadijah James? Sorry. No, I'm sorry. No.
Hilarious. And why is it Khadijah James? Because Yvette Lee Browser is that woman.
Yeah.
That woman. Her mind, and I would go back, and I still do, will literally go back and watch Living Single from front to back, season 1 to season 5, and I see myself all up and through Khadijah James, even down to having the finest men. Khadijah was that girl, okay?
Khadijah, that was number 2. Costa Rica. I have the finest men.
No, I'm talking trash, but I'm serious. But I think Khadijah, watching her navigate friendship, like watching her navigate balancing friendship and business, even when things got a little funky, with her and Max, at times, and then seeing how she managed Flavor Magazine, I was just like, even as a kid, I aspired, like, I want to create something that's dope like this. I knew it was a vision I was just like, I'm going to create this. I don't necessarily know when, but I'm going to do it. So even to this day, when I go back and watch it, I'm still influenced by the little things, even seeing how she manages her team. I'm like, I know it's a show, but it's such a real show to
Yeah.
see Black women and Black men just going through real life shit and
Yeah.
navigating it in a way that actually it makes sense now that, you know, I'm at that age range where I'm just like, well, damn, like I'm here now. Now I'm here and I'm watching it and I can understand, I relate, like the words, the actions, like all of it resonates with me. So it's you right, Khadijah girl, Khadijah all day, all
Khadijah.
day.
Shout out to Queen
Shout out to Queen
Latifah.
Latifah. Okay,
Yeah.
yes.
All right. So since we're there with Flavor Magazine, you have a magazine, EMOIR. I like saying that. EMOIR. Do you have any merch yet? Because I need a EMOIR
Not
shirt.
yet.
Yeah, I'm
Not
I'm
yet.
I'm gonna hit Miss Dash up and see if she could hook something up for me.
Y'all are the only ones with the Black Woman Hustle merch. You know that, right? Like anybody who was on that panel back then, yeah, nobody else has it. Mm-mm. Yeah. First.
Oh, okay. So tell people where to find you, but first, what's next for you?
Ooh, what's next? A lot of collaborations. It's Women's History Month, and I'm
Okay.
excited about that because, again, we celebrate Black women all day, every day. Like I said, it's something I get to do every single day, celebrate and support Black women. So this month, you'll see a lot from
Okay.
Black Women Hustle, but it will be in collaboration, of course, with other Black women's platforms and just Black women professionals, entrepreneurs, creatives, and MR. You'll see a lot from MR too. I'm like, I can't say everything yet, but as long as y'all have a way to connect with Black Women Hustle, MR, and myself, I think you'll be in for a treat this year.
Okay. And should they go to I have it scrolling, but should they go to your website, LashawnDreher.com or Black Women Hustle One? I know EMOIR Magazine has a Twitter. You have your Instagram, all
Yeah,
that. So
yeah. Every single platform is on Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, LinkedIn.
okay.
Black Women Hustle One on Twitter, but
Yes.
every other platform is Black Women Hustle, and that's BLK Women Hustle.
Hmm.
MR Magazine across the board. No matter which platform you go to, that's what you'll find. MRMagazine.com
Okay.
and BlkWomenHustle.com and LashawnDreher.com just to connect with me for marketing strategies, services, and just for booking so I can appear like I'm appearing on
And
this.
for bookings, you all heard that. And for bookings.
Yes, all the things. That's where y'all find me. And I'm like, I pop in and out of social media. So you might see a little something on my personal page every now and then.
All right. I want to thank you so much. I have had so much fun kicking off Women's History Month. You have taken me. I'm so fired up for the rest of the day, and that is a good thing because I was about to go take a nap, and now I can go and power through the rest of my day
Listen. No,
without
same.
without even having to put on any "Nuck If You Buck" or anything like that. But we will be back next week. I'm highlighting women all month who are doing fantastic things. So please come back and join us next Wednesday at our regular time of 2 o'clock. Lee Daniels will be my guest. And I will see you then. Have a great week, guys. Bye bye.
Bye. Thank you.